And we started off the session by saying that it's kind of worthy for us to actually feel ourselves that we would aspire to become a monk or a nun. But if failing that, because it's quite a difficult path, it's quite a challenging path to follow, then at least the least we could do is actually hold them in high regard and sort of think that what path they are following is absolutely noble and kind of worthy of following. So we've looked at some of the characteristics and some of the notions one should have, so what kind of qualities one should develop to actually follow that path. So we just carry on, and today is the last session which will culminate this topic. So just to recap, we finished off last week by saying that what are some of the qualities which monks and nuns, once they've taken the initiation, they've taken the path, what are the guiding principles? And one of the key things are what's called the Ashtapravachanmata, so the 8. So these are the 5 Samitis and the 3 Guptis. So we looked at it last week. And then we looked at it from the 8 Ashtapravachanmata, we looked at another sort of 10 qualities which they could follow, and this is called the Das Lakshan qualities. And these are very similar to what the Digambars follow. So when the magician comes in, then these are some of the qualities. They take each quality and they will contemplate on each of these qualities over the 10 days. So whilst our position is for 8 days, the Digambar's position is for 10 days, and they essentially look through each one of these qualities. We also last time looked at that from this 10 kind of core principles, then there's another 12 other, what they call is contemplations, which monks and nuns really hold on. And this I would actually classify them as like pills or like tablets. So when we are feeling ill, we'll have a different tablet for different kind of ailment which we have. So depending on the kind of state of your mind, depending on what you're feeling, these are the kind of 12 different bhavnas or contemplations one can rely upon. So depending whether you're feeling sort of depressed, whether you're sort of feeling lonely, he says like, badan ana bahut sara qualities hai, mara to kahin change nahi, and sort of all these kind of negative, depending on what it is which is actually bothering you. Sometimes you feel everything. So is that permanent or happiness? So even if it's happiness or it's sorrow, then you can start looking at the anitya bhavana. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is. Everything is in a change of flux. So we looked at those kind of the 12 bhavanas. So starting today, so one other thing which the monks and nuns have to go through is the parishad. And can you imagine, so like you are now inducted yourself as a monk or a nun, and these are kind of some of the things which you have to endure. Hunger. We looked at in this past few weeks that monks and nuns, they do not go to people's house and saying, please, I would like to have this kind of food. So that's called gochari. We looked at that gochari, and we looked at what gochari means. Gochari. Go means cow, and chari means to walk around like a cow. So that's what gochari means. That monks and nuns would go to people's house just the way a cow would go and on the field, literally from place to place, and taking a little bit of grass from here, a little bit of grass from there. So monks and nuns will be moving from place to place. And we also discussed briefly last time that if you look at the Digambar monks and nuns, I'm not sure if that happens in Swatambar, but sometimes they actually do some kind of mental contemplation. I'm going to go out for alms. If this couple of conditions are met, only then I will have my food. So that's actually in their mind. So they'll be going out on their daily alms, and if those conditions are not met, depending on whatever they've thought in their mind, then they'll just come back and say, if people are saying, please have some food, they'll just walk away and say, sorry. Those conditions are actually in their mind, so there's no way of knowing what they're thinking about. So they could actually go for days on days without hunger. So hunger is something which they have to cope with. Thirst. They are moving from place to place, so that's another thing. Krishna. Cold and heat. I think we also sort of briefly mentioned that, I think I did mention in one of the talks we did, so when we actually went to Bhavapuri with, Raj was there, that there was a Digambar monk, and here we were coming from England and feeling absolutely cold, and there a Digambar monk was absolutely, without any sort of expressions on his face, just going around and giving reverence. So they bear with extreme cold and heat. Although they have is perhaps a shawl, and then they just got simple clothes, they've got nothing else, and Digambars are actually sky-clad. So cold and heat is something which they have to really bear with. stinging insects. We go and we'll have the machardani with us, but for them, they're literally out there, so they'll have the mosquito bites, nudity, discontentment. Obviously, they all follow brahmacharya, so there is no kind of male or contact with male or female, wandering from place to place. And that's kind of very, very intense. Like that's called Jomaswa, that only the rainy season will they actually stay in one place. Otherwise, they're in a constant state of flux. They never stay in one place, the monks and nuns. They'll just keep on moving and moving. There's a special place of meditation that we sit alone in these other places. Sometimes the meditations are quite challenging. They themselves think, why don't I go to a grave or a crematorium? And they will go to such places and just meditate. So things which are considered to be quite scary or not conducive, they just want to overcome their fear and they will start meditating in strange places. Even I was reading the autobiography of Chitra Banuji. So when he first became a monk, people actually had sort of fables and stories that if you go to the crematorium, there are ghosts there, and some of the ghosts can be quite nasty. And he just wanted to say that, is it really true? He said, am I really feeling, if I'm a kind of a soul, do I really start believing this? And he said, why don't I go to a crematorium? And there are two things which will happen. If there's a ghost, then my life will end, and if that ghost is going to take me. If not, then I'll come out quite victorious. So I'm ready for that challenge. And he himself went, and he went, and he says he was quite trembling in the first couple of minutes. But as time passed by, he got his courage, and then eventually, he says, the whole night passed by, and he says, that experience taught me just to be fearless. Like, no people have these notions and everything, but that really instilled a sense of fearlessness. Lodging, they don't have any particular lodgings. Abuse, a lot of people can throw abuses at the monks and nuns, and they just, with very calm composure, they just take it in the stride. Injury whilst they're walking, failure in begging, illnesses. Obviously, when illness strikes, and one of the guiding principles of monks and nuns is, things which are under my control, let me try to change. But things which are not under my control, let me bear with equanimity. And that's really how their life sort of leads. Obviously, if there's anything which is illness, they'll try their level best. They'll ask the lady, the son. In fact, some of the great things which has been done is there's a Jito organization, which is now, there's also quite, Jito is quite active in the UK. But what Jito have done is that it's a group, it's called Jain International Trade Organization, and what they tend to do is that people contribute funds to there, and one thing which they've done is that all monks and nuns, irrespective of which sect you belong to, if they have got some kind of card, if anyone falls sick, the monks and nuns can go to a hospital, and when they present this card, Jito bears the expenses for all monks and nuns. So something which is quite a great thing which Jito has done. Injury from thorns, uncleanliness. This is also quite because, for example, I was listening to a lecture by the talk by Acharya Ratna Ramsundar Maharaj. He says the last time I had a bath was 40, 50, 60 years ago, the last time I actually took Diksha. So after that day, after the time I had actually become a monk, I've never touched, water is only for drinking, but I've never had a shower in all these many years. Yet, they're all sort of evergreen. So, they don't take any of these showers. Personal cleanliness. This is also quite kind of interesting because many people sometimes think they don't brush their teeth or anything, but somehow I think when there's a conviction, nature tends to help you. And that's my personal, because sometimes you sometimes feel that, many of the things which we do and take for granted, there are many things which they don't do. Kind treatment or should not be influenced by it. Sometimes when people sort of say, oh, let me take a lot of care about the sadhus and sadhvis, they want to maintain their equanimity. So if someone gives them abuse or something praises them, they really want to maintain their calmness. Knowledge, and by knowledge means that they shouldn't get any egoism after they get knowledge. Or ignorance, they should not feel despondent. Oh, knowledge out of nothing. And some of them means right belief doubt. So these are some of these parisha, or they have to overcome some of these afflictions. And obviously, the overriding criteria is that they are relying on the goodwill of the society. And so that's why the phrase in Jainism, paraspara bhava jivanam, that's really the thing. All life is independent and all life is interdependent. So, yet, whilst they believe that I am a soul, I'm an independent soul, yet life is interdependent. So that's really the guiding principles for the monks and nuns. Now, austerity is something which is part and parcel of monkhood. And which are the jewels of Jainism? It's known as Samyak Darshan, Charitra, and Tap. So Tap is also considered to be one of the principles of underlying the Jains, austerities. Now, austerity is actually divided into two parts: Bahya and Abhyantara. So external austerities and internal austerities. It's quite a conception that when we think of tap, most of us just think of tap means fasting. And that's only one out of the 12 things which we really believe. Tap has now been denoted as just like fasting. Whether but that's just one form of the 12 different types of tap which people can do. And so if you look at the external tap, unsun or fasting, so to give solid or liquid foods for a day, for a week of life, it's called fasting. To observe fast is called unsun. Unotri means taking little quantities. So if you know that I've got a lot of food available, I'm only going to be taking 3 items, 4 items, 5 items, and so just literally limiting the amount of food you're going to be taking. To accept food as alms, fixacharya, rasparitya, giving up sort of things which you really like, giving up consumption of some types of foods which you like, ghee, salt, milk, sweets, and this is all building up your willpower, depending on what you want. So, you can say, I want to give up certain things for a certain period of time. Kaya klesh, to retain the body in a certain specified body postures. Many times when you do yoga postures, some of them are quite difficult when you do yoga postures, but essentially there's a benefit of those yoga postures, how you do. So there's obviously some benefit. So these are kind of some bodily asanas which you do, which are going to be quite tough, but in that process you're actually building up your willpower and making your body stronger. So kaya klesh. So it's not torture, because torture is quite different. Let me not torture myself, but it's kind of torturing quotes and quotes, but with a purpose. So you could be saying, I want to be meditating in the sun for 4 hours. So literally there'll be monks and nuns will be saying, I want to meditate. So those are kind of external thoughts. What about internal? External can be seen. I can see that you're doing fasting, you're taking less food, less quantity of food. But abhyantara, internal thoughts are prayaschit. To purify the intellect, undertake activities like self-reprimand of one's faults, undertake punitive activities. So prayaschit means kind of confession. So constantly again, so like the Christian faith, when they go to mass, there's that concept of confession, prayaschit megeru. So that's a one form of thought, constantly thinking, what wrong have I done and how can I better myself? Prayaschit. Vinay means modesty. And that's exactly what the children were here saying. How can I show respect to the teachers? Vinay to our gurus, our elders. And that's kind of an integral part. And if you look at Uttaraden Sutra, there's a whole chapter on Vinay. Vinay is actually the cornerstone of kind of the modesty which is there. To serve the monks and with a pure and wholesome food. Now, obviously, these are some of the concepts, but what happens is that we take these concepts and extend them to us. How is this applicable to us? It doesn't just mean to serve monks and nuns, but to serve other people. So if there's someone hungry, if there are people starving, then it becomes our duty. How can we serve monks and other fellow human beings? Swadhyaya. That's such an important Swadhyaya. I think out of all this Abhyantara, that's a key concept that, we don't have monks and nuns roaming around here. So one of the best things which we can do is Swadhyaya. Reading books, meditating, reciting mantras, all this kind of Swadhyaya which you can do in your own personal time. You could do a samayik and then do Swadhyaya study, ask, teach, contemplate, give religious sermons. This all becomes a form of Swadhyaya. And that becomes a part of the austerities. Dhyan. Dhyan is again very integral. And as you can see that for monks and nuns, spending lots of time in intense contemplation is quite of, and we'll look at it later what different types of dhyan there are. And vitsa, living the activities of mind, body and other things and focus them on activities towards religion. Can you imagine that there was, in the times of India, there was recently, I think 1 or 2 years ago, Jain monks completed 423 days of fasting. And that was in the times of India. So literally 423 days of just having water. And no solid food for 423 days. I myself experienced, in 2015, I went to Girnar on a pilgrimage, and there is this Emperor Vijayji Maharaj. He's taken a lifelong vow. I actually met him and took his blessings. He's taken a lifelong vow of doing Ambel every single day and climbing Girnar every single day. There are some days when when the sun comes or there are some exceptional circumstances, he might not climb the mountain, but he's taken up long. So as long as I'm living, I'm going to be just fasting for just doing Ambel and climbing Girnar up and down. And when I met him, I said, what compels you to, why have you taken such a very rigorous, and he told me that right now we believe that in Summit Shikhar, all the 20 out of 24 Tirthankars went to Moksha from Summit Shikhar. In the next 24 cycle, all the 24 Tirthankars are going to go to Moksha from Girnar. Not Summit Shikhar, but from Girnar. So he says, it's my wish that if I die, I would like to be born in Girnar, and he says, I really want to build up that connection with Girnar, that that by doing Ambel and every day climbing the mountain, that's what I just want to build that connection with Girnar, that if I'm going to be born again, I would like to be born here, and especially when Tirthankar is around, and attain moksha. So that's his guiding principle. But can you imagine every single day, and Girnar is not an easy mountain to climb. I mean, if you've been to Palitana, that's fine, but Girnar is a very intense mount, and that's kind of the austerities which monks and nuns have done. So it's kind of amazing to how much, once when your faith is strong, how much you can push yourself and achieve so much. We talk about balanced diet and everything, but he's doing Ambel every single day. So basically no green vegetables, nothing, lifelong. Now, on the same topic of fasting, it's kind of amazing to see that Abhidhamma Panchayati, if we can't follow those rigorous fasting, but even as lay people, there's a lot of things which we could do. There's a concept of Naukarshi, then we can do Porsi, and essentially what that means is, after I wake up in the morning, I'll wait for 48 minutes after sunrise, and then I will have my breakfast. So that's Naukarshi. And you can do, and Porsi means little bit, not 48 minutes, but I don't know exact timing, but a little bit later, after maybe I think twice at 90 minutes, 1.5 hours, I'll do Porsi, and then you can take different pachkans. Now, quite interestingly, right now, recently, there's a big fad amongst the dietitians of say, intermittent fasting. So that's become like people do this keto fasting and intermittent fasting. I looked at the internet, and right now it's amazing to see intermittent fasting is currently one of the world's most popular health and fitness trends. People are using it to lose weight, improve their health, and simplify their lifestyle. Many studies show that it can have powerful effects on your body and brain, and even help you live longer. And this is what the intermittent fasting is. The Liggins program, I don't know what that program is, fast 16 hours every day. So that's what they're saying, that's what they're advocating, 16 hours a day. Look at it in Jainism. If you eat chovyar, so the concept is let me eat before sunset. That many people do that, chovyar. So if you finish eating at 5 p.m., that means you only can probably have water but no food after 5 p.m. And Naukarshi would be 9 a.m. So that's your 16 hours there. So if you go without following any of these scientific notions, it's embedded within our kind of Jain culture to say if you follow this chovyar and Naukarshi, that's it. Then they say eat within an 8-hour window every day. So that's what this program is saying. That's exactly what it says. I finish my Naukarshi at 9 a.m. and my chovyar will be at 5 p.m. That's my 8-hour window. Just amazing scientific way how the Jains have done, and this is a scientific program here. And then it says exercise with high intensity. On your exercise days, eat 2 or 3 big meals of dal, a protein. Obviously, that's something about non-vegetarian food there. Veggies and carbs. Dal, rotli, shak, and bhat. You got your proteins, you got your carbs, you got your veggies, you got everything there. So this is what's permitted, and you do that. And can you imagine that this whole thing, and it just fits in so well to the scientific program of saying, let me do intermittent fasting. The fastings, and the great thing about the Jains is that the fasting you can suit to yourself. There's nothing like saying, let me do this. So if you can't, I can't do upwas, so upwas, there could be different upwases. Upwas means I'm only going to be drinking water. You could be drinking water without no food or water any day, or you could be saying tibia upwas with just with water. If you can say I can only eat 1 meal a day, that's a kasmu. I can't do that, let me do payasmu. I can eat 2 meals a day. Or I can do ambel. Ambel means just one meal a day, but then not having any vegetables, just kind of fried food. And then generally it's celebrated twice a year. There's actually a festival, Ambeli Odiave, which is being done twice a year. And like it's Kenton Derasar and Porter's Bar, and they all celebrate. It's just amazing to see that people can fast for all 9 days, and you can do ambel. So you can actually suit the fasting depending on your own physical tolerance. It's also quite interesting to know that many, many people in sort of the older, the grandmothers, they used to be, or even many people in India, they fast on tithis. Like it was quite a common concept. Beach, Pacham, Atam, Agaras, Chorda, Soy. Like many of the Swami Narayan say, Ajama Agaras, Ajama Faradi Khavana. But for the Jains, many people used to fast on these special days, Beach, Pacham, Atam, Agaras, Chordas. And you would fast depending on whatever suit you. Upwas karo che, Kasnu karo che. I mean, this is again anecdotal. I mean, I'm not sure it's proven, but when I ask someone, why is it that people say you fast on certain days? One of the postulations or theories I've heard is, for example, we know that there's a huge amount of content of water in our bodies, and we also know that with the tides coming in, there's a lot of influence of the moon, and the tide controls the tides coming in and out. So it is suggested that when you have these tithis, there's a huge content of water in our body. So if you are having kobi nusha, kobi tamekao, vegetables, which has got a high water content, you want to limit the water content based on those kind of things. So that's one explanation which I was given. Okay, on those particular days, based on the lunar calendar, you actually want to minimize the amount of this green vegetables that you're going to, because lilotri ganivar na khai, there are titis hoy, ganamans ka lilotri na khawana mein tyare. So it's only going to be mug, rice. So now, dhyan. Not too many texts on dhyan in Jain scriptures, difficult to pen down, needs to be. So, what is dhyan? Now, dhyan is certain thing like swimming. If someone says, okay, here's a book on swimming, read this text on swimming, and you learn all the strokes, and this is how you do your front stroke, you do your breaststroke, but there's no way by reading no matter umpteen number of books, can you go into the pool of water and then say, okay, now I've really learned how to swim. Unless you do it yourself, this doesn't matter how much you've read. And dhyan is something quite similar, to do that. You need to practice it, otherwise you can just read it, it just becomes more hypothetical. Now, dhyan are generally divided into, Jains have described dhyan into 4 different sections. Artha dhyan, Rautra dhyan, Dharma dhyan, and Shukla dhyan. So these are the 4 types of dhyan or contemplations which one can do. Artha dhyan. Artha dhyan is more like focusing on pain. So painful. So if I'm sort of feeling aje mane bimar pedo chu to have su thase mane, it could be something small, cancer thio hase, so your mind is, because of some pain which has been inflicted on you, your mind is constantly now thinking about pain. Or it could be other thing else. You could have a lot of pleasure right now, and you're thinking of pleasure to because right now I'm in a very state of bliss right now. I've got a very comfortable lifestyle, I've got so many good things here, but what if these good things go away from me? So it could be pain or pleasure. If that comes, and that becomes your mind is constantly just thinking on those things. It's too small to read there, but there are actually 4 subcategories of those dhyan. One is called Anishta Sanyog, when we are put in circumstances which we do not consider good for us, Ishta Yog, Rog, and Nidan. So these are kind of subcategories of Artha dhyan. Now, Rautra dhyan is kind of evilish contemplation. I really want to do some harm. I really want to, or preparing some harm. So many of these people who are kind of in the terrorists, or people who want to do some fraud, you want to do some fraud, and you really want to say that I really want to deceive someone in a very cunning manner. Your mind is constantly thinking on those, or even encouraging others. Why not Karup and let me even get others to do that? So that kind of becomes the Rautra dhyan. And Jains generally believe that all of us have got some thoughts in our mind. We are always in a state of, there's some thoughts always going to be coming in our mind. So that's the reason why they're saying, how can you move away from Artha dhyan and Rautra dhyan and go to Dharma dhyan? So these 2 are kind of negative dhyans, and the more the mind focuses on those negative parts, Jains believe that you get Nich Gotra. So if you were to die in this state of contemplation, then you'll actually be born in lower category. So the worst of worst, you'll be born in hellish things, if you have been thinking like very evilish kind of dhyan. And Artha dhyan, which is not as severe, then you could be born as plants or animals. So we want to get away from that and go do more of this dharma dhyan. So that's why it's actually suggested that many people sort of say, dharma dhyan karo. Books mighty, I'm listening to good music, positive affirmations. So anything which is taking you from negative to positive becomes dharma dhyan. Now dharma is a very broad term within Jainism. Most of us will say dharma means religion. Dharma actually, essentially what it means in Jainism, the nature of things. That's the true meaning, that's the true definition of dharma. To understand the true nature of things, so the true nature of life. So the more you focus on the dharma dhyan, and that generally is believed to be like spiritualism. One thing is quite surprising. By spending more time on dharma dhyan, you're actually accruing good karmas. And that good karmas essentially means you'll be born into heavens. So essentially Jains say that that's not something quite, it is better than going into the negative hellish beings or into plants or animals, but that's not the ultimate objective. The ultimate objective is not for me to become Dev and have all the powers of angels and Devs. The ultimate objective is for me to go into Siddhshila. So whilst this is preferred, but this is not the ultimate objective. The ultimate objective is the Shukla Dhyan, which is the pure meditation. And that's what it's called, without any rag or dvesh, without any attachments or hatred. And that Shukla Dhyan, essentially the more you become that, then that becomes your path to moksha. So for most of us, Shukla Dhyan is quite a far-reached. So we really want to focus away from 1 and 2 and more towards the 3. At least that's one thing which we can focus on. And then Shukla Dhyan then becomes an advanced stage. So like for example, Acharya Channaji. So they have done years of sadhana, they have become years of monkhood, and then eventually their dhyan can actually become very, very pure. Because they are now devoid of any rag, dvesh, they don't have any feelings to anyone, they have got this universal compassion, and eventually their dhyan can become Shukla Dhyan, pure dhyan. It's not tainted by anything, not even tainted for themselves. They do not feel, oh, I want to become like a Dev or Devi or anyone in heavens. They just want to like a pure meditation. So we look at 4 types of dhyan there. And other different categories of dhyan is this 4 ones here. Pindasta, Padasta, Rupasta and Rupatit. So, it's like when you have in common, you can have different classifications. And so the same concept can be classified differently. So we can say, okay, in this world has got humans, and humans have got men and women. So that's one kind of categorization. Or you can say another categorization would be, we've got Africans, we've got Asians, we've got Europeans. So we're all talking about humans, but with just different categorization. So this is another categorization of like saying dhyan. Pindasta, Padasta, Rupasta and Rupati. What is Pindasta? Pindasta meditation is a meditation which is highly imaginative. You are using the power of imagination to do meditation. So for example, you'll be then meditating, thinking, I'm sitting on a lotus. And lotus is a very important sort of flower both in the Buddhists and the monks, and the Jains. And the reason is because the lotus always is in muddy waters. But the lotus itself never gets muddy. And the reason is because there's always a layer of oil between the lotus and the water. So when you know that oil and water does not mix. So the concept is the lotus is always going to be in muddy water. In this world, there's filth around the world. There's all these negativities around, but the lotus never gets tainted. The lotus always retains its purity. And so that's why the Pindasta is almost like kind of imaginative thing. I'm now sitting on a lotus flower, so that means that I'm in the world, there's all these negativities around me, but I'm now trying to become pure. And then you're using just the power of imagination to say, I'm becoming pure, my vices are becoming less, my karmas are going away, and you could be using different imagination to be in that state of meditation and sort of think, there's a fire burning, I've got 8 karmas here, so you could sometimes think I've got an 8-petal lotus here, and those 8 petals are my 8 karmas. And then again, depending on the power of imagination, think there's a fire, and the fire is burning away my karmas, and so you can just go on and on and on. So it's like your own personal meditation, which you can learn. So Pindasta. Padasta means, pad means some words. So using actually some kind of prayers for meditation. So a lot of people spend a lot of time reciting prayers, mantras, and you can be spending lots of people mara ganta hoy chhe koi karta to you could be reciting so many maras. So those becomes like padastha. So like for example, there are certain meditations which are quite nice to teach. Like for example, the one in yellow is supposed to be very good for memory. So our chokra ne sikhna hoy Om Aim Om Namaha. Aim is known as the seed for knowledge. Aim. And that mantra becomes, and the color yellow is supposed to be quite conducive for knowledge. So that's one. On the other one, right at the bottom, it's not seen, if someone is undertaking a long journey or maybe a flying, then it's Om, Fum, Shim, Rim, Aim, Nama, Tha, Swaha. So there's actually a book which has been written, and there are quite a few books which gives so many different types of mantra. Om, Rim, Arham, Nama, that's for family peace. And then, so people have all these different kinds of mantras here, and you could, no matter which mantra it suits you, if you know nothing else, no kar mantra. And then that becomes a form of your meditation. So as you can see, even as that's one way you've now taken away your focus from illness to something like which is now saying, okay, now I'm just going to be, I can't do anything else, I can't get rid of my illness, but then can I shift my mind to either, if I can't do Bindasta, that becomes difficult, I don't have imagination power, then can I do Padasta? Depends on what suits you. Can I recite mantras? So that's one. Rupastra. Rup means form. So rup means form. So rupastra means using the aid of some kind of form. And that generally means idol worship. So a lot of people go to Devasar, Bhagwan ni Murti che, and people just sort of are totally engrossed. And this also becomes very common in the Hindu culture. I forget what are they called, but they take this Bal Krishna Bhagwan ni Murti hoy, Krishna Bhagwan ne Naudao se, in a Khavdao se, in a Kapda Perao se. So there are different kinds of Hindus who then believe, I think Bal Krishna, I forget about what they're called, but some people just believe in the Krishna, and the other ones believing in the young Krishna. And they do all these things. I know some families who are literally, they say, Bhagwan uthwano time thei gyo, Bhagwan kapda perwano time thei gyo. So the mind is constantly engaged in Krishna Bhagwan, but then again with form. Even if you look at the Swaminarayan temple, if you look at the Swaminarayan Murti, they add all the clothes, Bhagwan Swaminarayan kapda, finding the Bhagwan kapda perwano. So all this thing, and can you imagine people must be spending hours and hours. People will be doing as a Paksha Giru, Snatra Puja Giri. So there are different kinds of pujas which people will be doing, and all the time they'll be reciting different prayers, and the mind is constantly engrossed in this puja. And Drupatit is, again, which means no form. I'm now going to be meditating on the soulless form. Okay, Siddha Bhagwan. Okay, I am a soul, I don't have a body, and then you're just literally thinking that without any form. And as you can see, these two forms of dhyan, in a way, designates the two main branches of Jainism. So Svetambars are mainly focused on idol worship, and if you look at the Stanakvasi and the Digambars, they are mainly to do with, they don't have any kind of temples, and the temple is just an upashray, and they're just spending lots of time doing just meditation and reciting prayers. So that, as you can see, these two forms of meditation, again, sort of demarcates between the two main branches of Jainism. The Svetambars, who are more on the idol worships, they do lots of pujas, full puja, kesar puja, and the sort of the Stanakvasis and the Digambars, more to do with less pujas, less rituals, more on the ideologies of meditation. Now, the ultimate aim of all this thing is Shukla Dhyan, the pure meditation. So, again, there are a lot of things. Shukla Dhyan, the four types of pure meditation are separatory contemplation, that I am separate, I am not the body, I am the soul. Unitary contemplation, I am alone in the world, and I am literally all alone. So all these relations are there, but they are temporary. But otherwise, I'm just all a single unitary soul. And then you sort of can go into that kind of Shukla Dhyan. Just to write the remaining, to conclude, we say that Jainism lays emphasis on balance, but it should be characterized by spiritual awakening. That's very important, because sometimes if you think it can be seen to be very harsh form. Oh, I'm literally not having vitamins, I'm not having a balanced diet, I'm really torturing my body. But if it's intertwined with spiritual awakening, then there's a purpose to it. It's almost like saying I've got a GPS in the car and I'm just driving aimlessly. But if I know that I'm the destination I'm going to, then that becomes more meaningful. Okay, I've now typed in where I'm going to go. I've typed the postcode in and I know where I want to go. So that's why, if someone is saying, yeah, I'm just going to be starving here for no reason, well, yeah, that means you're torturing your body. There are people who really want to torture your body. But Umar Atma, I want to purify myself, and that's why I'm doing tap. So that having that kind of spiritual awakening is very, very important. Or else it just becomes a torture of the body. The transcendental morality culminates in meditation, which should never be used as a means for attaining supernatural powers. That's very, very important. By doing tap, there's no doubt people get some powers. So if you look at many of our monks and nuns, even other people who do lots of tap, there are certain powers one can be endowed with. But the idea is you cannot undertake, okay, I want to do this tap because I want to get that power. That becomes like a self-fulfilling negative thing. So you just don't want to attain these supernatural powers. Even આપણા બંદીતુમાં આવે છે ઈયર લોએ પર લોએ જીવીએ કરીને આ સંસકો કે ના મત હોજે બરણતે at the time of death I do not want to sort of be tied down કે મને આ લોકના બધા મને I get this world ના મને બધા benefits મળે or પરલોકમાં I really want to be born as a દેવલોકમાં કે so that I can start getting all these powers so that I can become an intradev and I can have all these supernatural powers. I just want to die in this state of economy. So ઈયર લોએ પર લોએ ના and you just want to be away from those. So you don't want to attain the supernatural powers. In fact, there have also been some stories I've read that some sadhu Maharajis, they sometimes had these supernatural powers and they would then use those natural supernatural powers for the benefit of others but not to themselves. So suppose you've got a supernatural power, you say, I can cure someone by touching. If someone else comes to you, you would touch them, but if you yourself fell ill, they will not use that same powers on themselves. Because they said, this is endowed, I'll use it for others but not for myself. Okay, so we've now looked at, so where is this leading to? So we've looked at this, someone who has become a monk or a nun, they want to sort of spend time, what's the ultimate objective? That I want to get to moksha. So not to become a dev, but I want to become Sichila. So that's the ultimate. So that for us is a concept of heaven. Okay, not the dev. That's very important. It's very, many of the translations of English translations is very common. It's always, if someone dies, he's gone for heavenly abode. Heavenly abode means he has gone to Devlok. But in the truest sense, heaven for us means the Siddhashila. That's the place of no return. That's the place where you actually, when you go there, you are without a body and you are in sort of heaven and for all perpetuity, for all eternity. So sadhus and sadhvis, what's the main principle? Why would they want to sacrifice their life and not sort of enjoy the sort of life as we see it from our point of view and go through a whole life of hardships because they want to get to a state of arhat. So the spiritual career, it is a career for them. Whilst we put our own careers, the spiritual career towards the end wants to become arihant. They want to destroy the Mohiniya karmas, which are out of all the 8 karmas, the Mohiniya karmas are the lions. They are the strongest. They want to become a kevali and can only be attained from a human birth. For you to become an arihant, so for you to become a god, what Jains say that you can only do that in a human form. You cannot become an animal and saying, yes, I want to go into Sichila. So this process of going into sort of godhood can only be attained in a human form. That's why the human form has got so much importance within it. So we know there are 4 gatis: animals and plants, hellish beings, heavenly beings, and human beings. So out of the 4, 25%, this is only the 25% which can give you the route to heaven. Now, really let's understand, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Arahantanam. And what is the difference? And before we get into that stage, there's a little bit of, if people understand what is an Arihant and what is a Kevali. So do people understand what's an Arihant and what's a Kevali? Okay, so let's just imagine, let's not talk about, let's just take the example of Bhagwan Mahavir and Gautam Swami. Now, when Bhagwan Mahavir was born, and say Gautam Swami was born at the same time, they're just like you and me, normal people. Now Bhagwan Mahavir then sort of says that I want to take Diksha. So he's not even a Bhagwan at that stage. So he says, I want to now follow the path of spirituality. So he then renounces the world, and then he spends 12.5 years in the forest, and then at that stage he gets rid of all his karmas. So when he gets rid of all his karmas, he's got a Keval Gnan, which means ultimate knowledge. So someone who is a human can get ultimate knowledge, Keval Gnan. So once when you've got Keval Gnan, that means you are now going straight to heaven. There is no point of it. You can't get Keval Gnan and saying, I'm now going to go into Devlok. The moment you got Keval Gnan, which means you are now straight going to go to Sikshila. So that's for sure. So Lord Mahavir, he has meditated for 12.5 years. He's got Keval Gnan. But as Keval Gnan, he has also bound a special karma in his past life, and he's bound the Tirthankar Nam karma. So what is he got is now? He's now got Keval Gnan, he's got infinite knowledge. And now he's going to say, I'm now going to establish a religion of Tirth. I'm going to have sadhus and sadhvis. I'm going to preach the religion to the masses. So he, in our normal layman's language, he's become like a president. So like, we are all humans. There's no difference between us and Trump. We are all humans. We got the same 5 feet and everything. But he's got that kind of ultimate power. He's Donald Trump. He's the president. So Tirthankar he's become a Tirthankar. He's formed a religion. Now Gautam Swami is born. He's again going to be doing meditation, and he's also now saying, I've now destroyed my karmas and I've got Keval Gnan. So both Mahavir and Gautam Swami have got Keval Gnan, but Gautam Swami is not a Tirthankar. He's not going there and preaching the religion. He's not sort of going to be preaching to the masses. He would have his own group of sadhus and sadhvis, localized, and then both of them will go to heaven. So once when they go to Sikshila, there is no distinction between Bhagavan Mahavir and Gautam Swami for anyone else. So Tirthankars are far and few between. There are only few Tirthankars who then preach the religion. So in our Jainism, we believe there are 24 Tirthankars. So so what is the difference? So when you say Namo Arihantanam, because I actually it was confusing me quite a lot. What is Arihantanam? What's Namo Arihantanam? Through my relatives in India, we asked the question to Chinchandra Maharaj. I don't know if you know, Chinchandra Maharaj is in Tithal March, and he gave the answer to that question. So Arihant, Ari means Arihant, Hant means to destroy. So when you say Arihant, so Arihant means anyone who has destroyed their karmas. So when we say Arihantanam, it includes all Tirthankars and all Kevali Bhagwans. So anyone who has got Keval Gnan and anyone who has got who is a Tirthankar is a Arihant. And Arahantanam, not A-R-I but A-R-A. Arahat means the adorable ones. And Arahant means people who are just Tirthankars. So when I say Namo Arahantanam, I'm only bound down to the Tirthankars but not the Kevalis at that time. And what is a Tirthankar? A Tirthankar right now is only someone who is living. So Bhagavan Mahavir is not a Tirthankar right now. A Tirthankar today, when we say Namo Arihantanam, we are bound down to Simandar Swami, for example. Because Simandar Swami is in a human form, not in this land here, but in a different land. Jains believe Mahavidya Kshetra. So when we say Namo Arihantanam or Namo Arahantanam, we are bowing down to the Arihants. And Arihants are always present. It's not like, oh, now Bhagavan Mahavir is going to Siddhashila. He's now become a Namo Siddhanam. Gautam Swami is a Namo Siddhanam. So when we say Namo Siddhanam, we are bowing down to them. But when we say Namo Arihantanam, it's always the current Tirthankars right now. And Jain cosmology is great. Whilst we believe that Tirthankars here come in a time cycle, that we are now in the fifth cycle, so there's always a period of 6 ascending and 6 descending. We are on the 5th part of a descending cycle. Tirthankars always come at the end of in the 3rd and just the beginning of the 4th, during the 3rd and the 4th. That's only when in the earth. Mahavidya Kshetra is always in a constant state of the 4th chakra. The time cycle is always like though we're in the 4th cycle. So Mahavidya Kshetra is that part of within the Jain universe that there's always going to be Tirthankars for all eternity. So when Simandar Swami Bhagavan goes to heaven, then there will be other Tirthankars. So in one way there's actually a ray of hope that no matter when we are born, if we die from planet Earth, if we are born in Mahavidya Kshetra, there's always going to be some Tirthankar at any given point in time. The universe is never devoid of a living Tirthankar at any given point in time. That's quite a sobering thought to know, that no matter where you are, that if your karmas are good enough, your efforts are good enough, you could then think that I want to be born in Mahavidya Kshetra, because there's always going to be a Tirthankar at any one point of time. Simandar Swami has got a huge lifespan. Simandar Swami was born when Bhagavan Munisurat Swami, so in our 24th cycle, when Munisurat Swami was actually living here, that's the time when Simandar Swami was born. And he's going to be dying, I might be wrong, but when the 9th or the 10th Tirthankar of the next cycle is going to be going to Moksha, that's when Simandar Swami will go to Moksha. So Simandar Swami has got a huge lifespan. We are talking of millions of millions of millions of years. So he's living right now. We Jains believe there are 20 Tirthankars in Mahavidya Kshetra, and so that's why when we say Tirthankar, we are bowing down to Simanda Swami. Any questions?
So in Mahavidya Kshetra, there are at the moment 20 Tirthankars over there.
Yeah. And Jains believe that suppose the Tirthankars now are in earth, right? So we'll have Tirthankars. So at any given point in time, the maximum number of Tirthankars in the universe is 170. So when you do because I mean it's a very complex. This is a Jain sort of universe, and what Jain universe says that humans can be born in 2.5 different kinds of lands. So Bharat Kshetra che, Mahavidya Kshetra che, Airavat Kshetra che. So there are different regions in the universe. So and in these different regions, so we could have 20 Tirthankar here, and other Airavat would have another Tirthankar somewhere else. So at any given point in time, the maximum number will be 170. So right now we believe there are only 20. So only in Mahavidya Kshetra there are 20 Tirthankars. And one question, so I'm not sure if the answer is correct, but someone gave me the answer. Like sometimes I ask the question, how come we always remember Simanda Swami? Why don't we pray to other 19 Tirthankars who are already in Mahavidya Kshetra? And the response I got was that Simanda Swami in his previous lives was actually born on earth, and therefore it's believed that he's got a kind of good connection with earth. It's like almost like depending which school you went to, you'll have my old boys network. Oh yeah, you went to the same school. Great, you know, it's nice to know. So that kind of brotherhood, that old boys network. So Simanda Swami was born on earth, in earth in his previous lives, and therefore, in a way, there's kind of a strong connection. So that's why we got. But otherwise, there are 19 other Tirthankars right now. So total of 20 Tirthankars present right now. And as you can see, these are the time cycles. Number 1, huge lifespan, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th and the 6th, Jains believe is 21,000 years each. So the 5th cycle, we are in probably 2,000 years out of the 21,000, so there's another 19,000 years according to Jains which are still remaining, and then the 6th is going to be even worse than now, which is going to be another 21,000 years, and then the ascending cycle starts. So when the ascending cycle starts, not in the first, not in the second, and only in the kind of towards the third and the fourth, towards the tail end of the third and the fourth, will the Tirthankars appear again on earth. And it's actually believed that any periods of 1 and 2 periods, these are periods of utmost happiness. So after absolute sort of lot of pain and suffering and sorrow in the 6th, then 1 and 2 is utmost happiness. And it's kind of amazing to see that one can never achieve salvation in that state of 1 and 2. Can you imagine that when there is absolute pure happiness, it is believed that people who are born in that first, they are born as eugalic. They are born as twins, they die as twins, they get married as twins. And secondly, all the needs are being met by wish-fulfilling trees, kalpa vraksh. And there are different kinds of wish. Oh, I want a house, I want this. And because all the wishes are met by these wish-fulfilling trees, there is no kind of deceit between us, like there is no jealousy between you. And because everyone are straightforward, everyone says there is no religion which appears, because everyone is just simple, straightforward. Religion just does not appear in that state. There is no concept of there is something, because everyone is just in a state of absolute, total, materialistic happiness. There is no sense of spirituality, or there is something beyond this state. So it's amazing to know that this concept of religion and everything appears. That's why many people people will never actually think about God. You'll never ever think if there's absolute pure, it's just happiness. Now, there are special attributes of the Tirthankar. So depending on the time, so when a Tirthankar is born, we believe that they're actually endowed with some special powers or special qualities. So Atyant, he is Sundar Sharir, the body is just amazing. Jinendra Dev ki Sharir ka prasansa, Indra Bhagwan is actually utilizing the Bhagwan Sharir ki vitna ne Bhaktamar pan આવે છે. When Bhaktamar is a very profound prayer, Bhaktamar આવે છે કે ભગવાન તમાર જે પરમાણુ જે છે પરમાણુ પિસ્તોન નિર્માપિતા. So even the particles which made your body is worth of adoration. ભગવાનનું જે શરીર જે છે. Sugandh tan, it's fragrance. Bhagwan jo body is full of fragrance. A sweat. Bhagwan ki pasina nahi aate hai. Bhagwan doesn't sweat. There is no sweat which comes from the body's. Mal mutra rahi. Bhagwan ki pavan shakti aisi hoti hai कि उनके जीवन भर मूल. So there is no excretion. There is no excretion. There is no urination. There is no waste products from the body. Hit with vachan. That's quite amazing. કે ભગવાન જ્યારે બોલે છે when ભગવાન is speaking, તીર્થંકર is speaking, આપણે જ્યારે બોલતા હોય આપણે અતિચાર આવે છે એમાં આવે છે કે દેશ કથા, સ્ત્રી કથા અને ભક્ત કથા. We actually sometimes do આજે politics discuss કર્યું, હવે કોણ આવશે, so we spend our time doing that. or સ્ત્રી કથા, or you look at youngsters, ઓલી છોકરી આમ છે, ઓલો છોકરો આમ છે, so we spend lots of times discussing, gossiping things. ભગવાન છે હિત. Whenever Bhagwan speaks, it's always to do with hit, and hit means what is conducive for your spiritual welfare. Otherwise, there is nothing else to discuss about. You don't go to Bhagwan, paisa nahi nikla marse, ke sutra se kahin. So when Tirthankar is there, any speech of theirs, any single word they want to utter from their mouth is always has to be, if I'm uttering this word, is it going to be for your spiritual welfare? Hit. Atulya bal. Atulya. Tulna means that juna jamana weighing scale out of the weighing, so that's tulna. Atul means incomparable bal, so incomparable strength. So these are some of the attributes of Tirthankar. So if a Tirthankar is born, these are some of the qualities which nature has endowed with them. You have now ready, your karmas have gone away, and nature has endowed you with such kind of qualities. So Tirthankar, their Bhagwan keval naam khai chhe, so they have not yet gone to moksha. So they have now done years of spent time years of doing sort of diksha કર્યા પછી લોકોને કેવલ જ્ઞાન થાય છે, because આપણે ભગવાનના 5 કલ્યાણ હોય છે, ચવન, conception, જન્મ, diksha, કેવલ જ્ઞાન and moksha. So these are the 5 auspicious events of Tirthankar. Conception, when they are born, when they are going to be taking diksha, they are going to be taking then when they get keval jnana, so they are still in a body form, they are still in the body form, and then moksha when they have left the body. So these are the 5 ones. And keval jnana hote hain. For example, mukh cha. Kind of amazing to see mukh cha, mukh. And what happens is Bhagwan, આપણે શું વિચારતા હોય ભગવાન જ્યારે બેઠા હોય ભગવાન means he is now not keval jnana. There is that samosaran gets erected. So samosaran, it's like an assembly, and Bhagwan is now going to be giving his speech. And when he's giving his speech, obviously the Bhagwan's body is one. But what the devs and devis do, they'll create another kind of illusion of 4 different, so like face, and that's quite easy. I mean, if you imagine with the modern science right now, we have this Facebook and all these things, and we can see but you can actually create these 4 other images of ours. So devs and devis will actually create an exact replica of Bhagwan facing in each of those 4 directions, because the samosaran is round. So if our Bhagwan is facing this way, what about people sitting there on the other side? And that's why if you go to Pavapuri, you can actually see so many of these temples that Bhagwan is facing in 4 directions. So there's days and days will say Bhagwan will face in one direction, and their body will be created in other 3 directions. So someone actually feels exactly that Bhagwan is there. माने का भगवान विराजते हैं, then upsarg nahi. Bhagwan hote upsarg. When Bhagwan is around, there is absolutely no problems, no floods, none of these natural calamities, no pain, no suffering amongst a certain distance. सब विद्या ईश्वर को केवल हो कारण के उनके समस्त प्रकार की पूर्ण ज्ञान, they get infinite knowledge, and we look at it a bit later on. Let's see how much time we got. Nahi, their nails does not grow, and chaya rahe, they have no shadow. So after they get keval jnana, there is no shadow on the body. આપણે જે shadow દેખાય છે એ લોકોને shadow ના હોય ભગવાનને. 40 Atishay. Atishay no meaning is like special qualities, like which is something miraculous qualities. Normal logic you not understand how possible છે. So that's what Atishaya, kind of very very rare. But I think because of the time we will not go through all of this here. So they have all these special qualities. This is quite important. Bhagwan ne 8 pratiharya. આપણે ભક્તામાં this is actually the cornerstone of ભક્તામાં કે ભગવાન જ્યારે આવે છે ત્યારે ભગવાન અશોક વૃક્ષ નીચે બેસે છે. So અશોક tree, સિંહાસન, 3 છત્ર ભગવાન હોય છે ત્યારે there's this kind of 3 canopies over their head. 3 canopy. Bhamandal means that aura. ભગવાનનો જે છે that behind their head is that kind of aura behind their head. So Bhamandal. Divya Dhvani. જે ભગવાનની જે ધ્વનિ છે it's very ભગવાન की मुख से निरक्षर ध्वनि भगवान की दिव्य वाणी. So the speech is just amazing. The speech दिव्य वाणी પુષ્પ વૃષ્ટિ ભગવાન જ્યારે બેઠા હોય છે ત્યારે ઓલમોસ્ટ સ્કાયમાંથી બધા ફ્લાવર્સ પડતા હોય છે. ચામર ભગવાન ચામર હોય છે ભગવાનનો ને દુંદુભી the દેવ દેવીઓ they are actually sort of playing musical instruments. So can you imagine, these are not humans. Dev Deviyo, they are actually playing musical instruments, and that's so blissful. And this is all kind of summarized in Bhaktamarma. It's all sort of captured in there. Yeah, so I think this is just some of the English translation of some of them. So breath is fragrant like lotus. A wheel or symbolic of religion moves ahead or behind them in the sky. The throne is made up of crystal quartz. That's being made by the Dev Deviyo. They make that. Can you imagine that even people have discussed how is the voice of Tirthankar? When Bhagavan speaks, what are the qualities of the speech? So when we speak, we say his voice was clear, his voice was hoarse. Bhagavan, it has quality, it has a lofty meaning, it is free from colloquial terms, it is the deepest thunder. Bhagavan it resonant, simple, musical, profound meaning. And these are all the kind of the qualities of how Tirthankar would speak, free of ambiguity. Bhagavan jare bolche there is no doubt. Amase ke amase, amase ke amase. When they speak, it's absolutely crystal clear. Respectful, pleasing, relevant to the time and place. Can you imagine Bhagavan jare bolta se it's relevant to the time and place. It suits the subject matter. Sweet like nectar, not harsh or biting. Oh yeah, so this slide is to say, how does someone actually bind Tirthankar? What kind of activities did you do, or what does one do to say, I want to actually bind a Tirthankar Nam Karma? That you've bound that special karma, that not only are you going to become someone, but you're going to become a Tirthankar. And these are some of the different qualities: darshan, visuddhi, purity of faith, reference to elders. But what's something out of all these different qualities which you could be doing? Can you imagine charity is one of them? So someone is going to be doing so much charity, so much selfless charity, that by doing that amount of charity, you could actually bind Tirthankar Nam Karma. Because charity is almost like selfless. You're not going to say, well, people say charity begins at home, but that charity is like universal. I don't care, irrespective of caste, color, creed, I'm going to be doing charity. Serving meritorious ones during their ill health. That's again, if you do that with such bhav, that, then you can actually bind Tirthankar Nam Karma. And elimination of the teachings of the jinas. So can you imagine, let's say for example, like Rakesh Bhai Javeri, so or like if you look at all these Acharya Trinaji, they are actually spending time in devotion. Srila P.G. Maharaj is going to be coming here, and they're going to be eliminating the teachings of the jinas. They're going to be taking the words of the jinas and propagating to the masses. And the more you do, the more it is, because you are actually helping others to climb on the level of spirituality. And if you did so much of that, all these things can actually help you bind the Tirthankar Nam Karma. Caution: if any of these meritorious activities are being pursued to become a Tirthankar, it becomes a nidan, forbidden wish. Need unconditional perseverance without any expectations. You need to be doing all these things with unconditional expectations. And that's again, I think, Bhagavad Gita, you do your actions but without any expectations and any reward back. You do it, but don't expect. I want to get this out of it. Then it becomes selfless. Now what is Keval Gnan? When someone says I've got infinite knowledge, what does infinite knowledge mean? Keval Gnan means knowledge isolated from karmic interference. And in karmic knowledge, right now when we got knowledge, we are using our mind and our senses. So that's knowledge to us. When no senses or mind are involved, it's called direct perception by the soul. It's direct perception. So no mind or senses are involved. And that's why intuition sometimes is highly evolved. If I can see what's happening in Africa right now, then that's like, I'm not using my senses, but some people have got that clairvoyance. So that means you've got an enhanced power of your soul. I can actually visualize exactly how I see it right now, and over there. So someone imagine, someone far away could be seen there. So that becomes it's a power of the soul. no volition, and simultaneous. So all what that means is just as what you would see in a glass mirror. Okay, glass mirror what I will be seeing crystal clear, and the way it is, not distorted, not illusionary. I see everything in all the 3 periods of time simultaneously. That becomes Keval Gnan. So imagine I'm here right now, or imagine Bhagavan Tirthankar or anyone has got Keval Gnan, or Simandar Swami has got Keval Gnan. So Simandar Swami, Mahavidya Kshetra, past, present and future. What's going to happen in the future? All the substances in the universe, they know exactly what it is in crystal clear. Past, present and future. So that becomes infinite knowledge. You've got knowledge, and infinite knowledge means knowledge of one is knowledge of everything. Knowledge of everything means knowledge of one. So that Keval Gnan means. And it's simultaneous. Apna knowledge is sequential. I learn this, then I learn this, and then I did bachelor's, and then I did master's, and then I did PhD. It's a sequential knowledge. I'm increasing my knowledge one after the other. So this is simultaneous. At this moment in time, at every instant moment in time, I have got all the knowledge of everything, all particles of matter, of all souls, of past, present, and future. And that in itself becomes Keval Gnan, infinite knowledge. And sort of glass is a very good analogy, and this is kind of in Kolkata, a kind of a glass temple. Many of the temples are actually built of glass. So it's kind of. There is no time for that. Okay, so eventually the objective is to go into Sit-Shila. Very briefly, Sit-Shila, according to Jainism, is a very confined space. One actually makes you wonder, how can in this, whatever the dimensions of Sit-Shila is, how can you have infinite souls residing in Sit-Shila? Because we believe there are infinite souls in Sit-Shila, and infinite more souls will actually go into Sit-Shila. If you just look at this simple experiment, so if you have these circles here, right, so blue, red, green, I can actually just take all these circles and superimpose them into a single space. And eventually they all become one. So I've now taken all these separate circles, and now they've all now to be. If I do this in PowerPoint, you can literally see if I remove the yellow one away, you'll see the green one. If I remove the green one, you'll see the red one. So in a single space, all these things have come here. So what Jains believe that in a single space, you can actually have one soul, or you can have infinite souls. So you can imagine whatever the dimension of the Sit-Shila is, you can actually accommodate infinite number of souls in that space there. And this can be visualized by this, that I can actually have millions of these circles, superimpose them all together, they're all occupying one space here. But otherwise, if I extend them, they all, so you could have millions of them here. But if you bring them, they're all into one space. So it's a place, only consciousness, no body, it's a place of no return. So this is one thing which distinguishes us and Hindu gods and goddesses. Oh, there's so much pain and suffering in earth. Let me take reincarnation. Let me sort of avatar. Jains don't believe in avatar. When Bhagavan Mahavir has gone there, Bhagavan Mahavir cannot say, oh yeah, there's a lot of suffering in earth. Let me take birth and let me go down and redeem the souls there. Once it's a point of no return. You've gone there, everlasting peace for happily ever after. I think that's it. One last thing. I think someone asked the question last time. Who can become a Siddh? And sometimes it's actually very commonly believed, oh, Jain should only, then I can become a Siddh. Where is this? Grindings Siddh. Someone who does not become a sadhu. So Grah means someone like us, lay people. So lay people, you're doing such great activities that you could actually become a Siddh. So it's not a condition to say that so here I have to become a monk, and after a monk I become an acharya, and then I become a Siddh. Any one of these people can become a Siddh. So it's not prerogative that you have to become a monk or a nun to get to the Siddh. Unyielding Siddh. Any simply person observing the right code of conduct can get Siddh. What doesn't mean just has to be a Jain sadhu, could be a sadhu of another faith. As long as you're following the principles of nature, I'm not harming animals, I'm not sort of doing, you're observing the kind of universal principles, then it does not mean whether you are a Buddhist monk or whether you're a Swaminarayan monk or a Christian monk, you could become. So there are all these 15 different categories of how can become a Siddh. And it's interesting to know it is not just the domain of Jain. Yes, that's one of them, Jina Siddh. but you could actually have other people, people who can actually become Siddh, Striling Siddh. So some people believe that women can actually become, and they have given examples. Mata Maru Devi, Chandan Bala, they become Siddh. So that's quite a reassuring thought that there's no time. I think Gunastan in chapter 7 it ends with this Gunastan, but this in itself is a huge topic. I think even Sandippa had mentioned this. So this could almost be like a whole term discussing this the Gunastans. Yeah. So that's basically it.